Well, thank you very much for staying with us. Now, we've been having a conversation here surrounding the actions of the, like I said, convicted acting police IG Gilbert Masengeli. And Daktari, you've been adamant that the blame lies squarely on both sides.
Yeah, and I maintain that. Even at family level, when there are serious issues, and these are the people who actually promote alternative dispute resolution, even at family level, this is security. This is an issue on security that actually, and that's why I keep saying should not actually get to the point whereby the Chief Justice has to come out and issue a statement, LSK issue a statement, because again, how did we get ourselves into this? We have lost track of actually the three families that are suffering because of the loss of the disappearance of their children. And because that to me was the simple answer that the IG needed to actually come to court to offer. But very simple. And so on that ground, I think, not that I think, he bears the blame.
Fair enough.
But then the statement that I made, which I'm waiting for Wakili to correct me if there's something called judicial overreach, I think that the judge should have handled that differently. It should have been handled differently.
I don't know what you mean differently, man.
Differently is that, it could have been something that, because when they don't have security, they write letters. They even go to the IG and say, "Hey, I need this sorted out," and that is done. And now it's appearing as if we are now playing tit for tat, because that is what judiciary has done.
Simply performing his mandate.
And
ensuring that we all respect the rule of law.
Yeah, that's a problem with English, because you're saying the judge was simply performing. This is not a simple matter. So don't even
respect the rule of law.
But that's why I said that on matters security,
Mark.
even on issues with, because all you want me to do is to say that the police was completely wrong. But I also think that the judiciary overstepped, because this is something that they could have, the judge could have actually even invited the IG and had a conversation.
Why should he be invited in private?
But why not?
This is a matter of public.
But why not?
Let me come in, please.
But why not? Was even the security
Mark,
given in public?
Just a minute, Mark.
Okay. I want Honorable.
Even in our families.
I want Honorable Dege to also respond, because this particular issue has also been hijacked by politicians, because a section of legislators from the Western region, led by Bumula MP, Jack Wamboka, have castigated what they say is an onslaught on IG Gilbert, acting IG Gilbert Masengeli.
Excuse me.
So let him respond to his colleagues.
When we are talking about the law, we are all equal. Yeah. When we are talking about the law.
Correct.
There is no lesser law for IG and a superior law for Mark. We are equal before law. When we go to court of law, we are subjects to the judiciary. Whether you are IG, whether you are a member of parliament, whether you are Mark here. And if we reach a level where we can ignore the pronouncement of court, then we don't have a country. Like now we talk about the Inspector General. What is so special about the Inspector General, whereby Mark is suggesting he would have been called privately?
Exactly.
The answer is no. The families of the three missing gentlemen have a reason to be given an answer. Those people are not lesser citizens than the Inspector General. Those are Kenyans.
Exactly.
And we are talking about lives of Kenyans. If the Inspector General was not in the office by then, what is stopping him going to court and say, this thing was not before me, and now that I'm in the office, give me time to follow? What was stopping him from doing that? Today, I may be found on the wrong side of the law, and you won't take me to court. I'll be having a right to quote Inspector General who failed to go. Then I'll say, tell the court, am I a lesser citizen than the Inspector General of Police? Then are we going to have the judiciary? And if you don't have the judiciary, do we have a country? Do you have a country?
Fair enough.
There was nothing so serious which would have not been sorted by the Inspector General himself before the judiciary.
Exactly.
Because these people pleaded for him to come and
if we
appear.
don't have security,
just-
do we have a country?
It's not about
No,
it's not
the
about the
security,
judges having
let me
security.
say this. The security we have in this country is no longer police force. We have a police service. The reason why we have a police service, these people are supposed to be servants of the people. And you cannot be a servant and you want to direct yourself. A servant must be a servant even before law. A servant must realize they are in the office because of the taxes we are paying. We employ them. And when you are employed, you are subject to people who have employed you, and you must be answerable to them. You cannot be above the law. Again, we have a president above the law. Then do we have a country? No. We must respect the law. And the law must be equal to all of us.
Ian Gwenoiseo or Gwangbendiseo.
No. We can't do that.
Let me let Wakili come in.
Translate that for you.
There is something that Terry is failing to appreciate, that it is the office of the Inspector General is not the one that is under the attack. It is Masengeri himself, because he's the one who is failing to comply with the orders. He was ordered by the court on 23rd to come and explain why. On 26th, again, the court sat, requested the same. The explanation was never provided. He was never available. On that, the same thing happened. All the way until now, the court gave a sentence about all this, even gave him a leeway to explain himself. And what was the explanation about? That there are 3 persons who are arrested by officers believed to be from the police service and are not being found. Nobody can trace their whereabouts. So he was supposed to come and explain the whereabouts, or if he knows anything about it. But instead, he chose to be busy with other things and claims to be busy. We have no issue with him claiming he is running security matters because he was given a job to do so. But you also need to remember that what is more important at this particular time when the court is calling you to come and explain the missing persons? Are those lives not more important? So we cannot run away from why Masengeli is required in court. It has 3 persons who are abducted by officers and nobody can trace their whereabouts. And that is a clear violation of rights, and that is a clear violation of the law for him not failing to appear in court, and there is no excuse about it.
Fair enough.
What is the solution on this?
The solution?
There'll have to be a conversation, one way or the other. There'll have to be a dialogue.
You see, Daktari,
I'm being practical.
On this one, we don't need dialogue. Let the law be followed.
The thing is,
let the law be followed.
The thing is, we wouldn't be here today if the acting police IG would have appeared before court to explain, like Honorable Dege said, if this issue happened when he was not acting IG, he ought to have appeared before the judge and say, this happened when I was not the IG, but it happened on August 19th, 2024. Why not just appear in court, explain yourself, instead of operating with a lot of impunity?
But Ian, I'm just asking. This is what I'm proposing as a way forward. There will have to be a dialogue, because there are certain judgments or sentences that you actually pronounce.
The nature of dialogue.
Exactly the question I wanted to ask, Daktari. Why should we have dialogue about respecting the rule of law?
And
when
a matter is in court already.
We are doing that right now. We are doing that
right now. Between the parties involved.
We are doing that right now.
I'm saying concerning the parties.
Here is Wakili. When he goes to court, even somebody who has murdered, picked a gun and murdered somebody, he will still go to court and actually hold a view of defending that person. That is dialogue. We fail in this country that we cannot talk to one another. It is possible, and that is why, and Wakili will agree with me, there's a principle that we say that you temper justice with mercy. Why do we pardon criminals?
Gentlemen.
We do. May I ask so not on this matter. I think there'll have to be a dialogue between judiciary and NPS. To me, that is my position. I blame both sides.
Is the dialogue intended to bring to address the issue of the missing person?
Exactly my point.
No.
The thing is, for you're only basing your submissions on the judiciary and the NPS. Where's the picture of the families of these three gentlemen? Because Bob Njagi, Jamil Longton, and Aslam Longton, are missing. Their families are living in agony.
But you know what we're dealing with today is the screaming headlines.
But you see,
It's not screaming.
that's
That's
the end result. That's the end result.
And yesterday, what LSK was addressing, LSK was addressing issues of security. We were not addressing the issue of the family. That is a different matter. That is an active matter. That is an active matter that has to be addressed one way or the other, whether it's Masengeli or whatever. Because today,
gentlemen,
I think for record purposes, the LSK was addressing the issue of security details of Judge Mugambi.
Yes.
Because of the case that we filed as the LSK and 3 others versus the IG, that is petition 436 of 2024.
Fair enough.
Those are the actions that have led to
gentlemen,
the
let's just move forward.
Yes.
Because we are running out of time. Now, like I said, Adani has been on the headlines in regards to taking over operations or being in negotiations, like the ministry says, with the government of Kenya over taking over operations of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport for the next 30 years. Now, it is now confirmed that it is not only taking over operations of the JKIA, because its subsidiary, that is Adani Energy Solutions, is set to also run operations in the energy sector, because they are looking to submitted a proposal in regards to the transmission lines and substations here in the country, and they're looking to spend a whopping 95 billion in trying to ensure that the issue of transmission of electricity and all that, and ensuring that we avert all these issues, because according to CSOP and I, roping in the public-private partnerships, the PPPs, and ensuring that we involve private companies will help the government in addressing the issues that we have in terms of electricity amid the frequent power outages. Now, Wandai says the government has a deficit of around $5 billion in trying to sort out the mess that we have, and involving the private sector is the only way to go. Now, starting with you, Honorable Dege, Adani Group is set to help in this for the next 30 years and spend 95 billion in terms of capital, and they're expected to generate around 634 billion in terms of revenue in the next 30 years. First of all, as a lawmaker, I mean, Kenyans have really faulted the government, and you as the representatives of the people, personally, what are your views in regards to not only the JKI issue, but also now the new development in regards to Adani being involved in transmission lines and substations in the country through Petroleum?
Okay, thank you very much. In the National Assembly, I sit in the Energy Committee, and I can report authoritatively here that no such request has reached the committee. We have not been briefed. We have never had any discussions around it. And whatever is being done by Adani with the Kenya power sector in this country has remained a secret. And I don't think somebody or a foreigner should come to our country and invest such a magnitude of money without making it open to the people of Kenya, and the people of Kenya have a right to know the reason why such kind of monies are coming in. What I wanted to say about the Adani generally is that I'm foreseeing a situation whereby the appetite for kickback is really imprisoning our country. Because if you look at the interests of Adani in our country, the way they are emerging currently, these people are strategically targeting our key sectors. Like the one which has brought everything here is the Kenya Airports Authority, or JKIA. Today we are talking about Ketraco. The truth is, the next one is going to be health. That's now the third one. And there are a number of silent ones. So what we need to know from the government, can the government come out clearly to the public and make the public be aware of Adani and Adani's interest in the country?
Because your mic is
okay.
Yes.
And Adani's interest in the country and the need for us to get such kind of a support. Where do we have a problem? And if you have a problem, has that problem reached a level where we cannot fix it as a country? And are there any available options of loan or support from elsewhere? Must it be Adani? And if it is Adani, how will this one impact on our economy and the taxpayers? So whatever we are coming across here today, let us not limit it to JKI or Ketraco. Because all these things are now emerging. If you listen to the minister talking about this energy thing, it has come out after the revelations from the Senate. All along, this thing has been there, and the country has been quiet about it. So it has come out. I'm telling you tomorrow, you'll see something about Adani in health.
There have been claims.
Because that one, not even claims. That's the reality. The shift thing is going to be the major syndicate which will emerge in this country and will shock everybody. Where taxpayers' money, people have been made to pay 7%, 2.7% of their income. And this money has been channeled clearly to some few individuals to benefit. And it will emerge very clearly Adani is inside it.
Okay.
And what Senate was trying to purport will shock everybody. Because Adani is purely going to arrest the economy of this country. And we are going to be imprisoners in this country. And the debt we are going to witness here will be bigger than what China is demanding from us.
Fair enough. Dr. I don't know what you make about all this, because I just want to quote what Ondai said. Honorable Odege is saying they have no knowledge, him sitting in the Energy Committee. Ondai said, we currently have engagements with different players like the joint venture proposal from Africa 50 and Power Grid India. And he said, we have to involve the private sector for us to be able to sort out the mess. But the concern is, why Adani?
I would not sit here and actually, Ian, confirm why Adani. I'm from private sector, and I believe that as private sector we make investments, and these are the investments that actually really drive the economy. Private sector is key to sustaining and driving the economy of any country. So I don't want us to be blamed all the time as private sector. We make investments, and these are business investments with return on investment associated. I think that with regard to Adani, it's basically we know that we don't have enough money to be able to advance most of our economic, development issues and agendas. The example that I give on private investment is, let me not talk about SGR, but it's the expressway. The challenge that we have in this country is that these are really good projects. We created we came up with a good constitution for ourselves that talks about public participation, that talks about disclosure of a whole, most, if not all of these things, unless it's national security. And I think that maybe where we have failed is that public disclosure and public participation. The fact that private sector is involved in this, regardless of who it is, whether it's Adani, whether it's the Chinese, whether it's the Americans or the French, to me it doesn't matter. It means what is important is who has the wherewithal or the financial capacity to actually help us address the infrastructural challenges that we have, and it will have to be private sector. I think where I fault the people that have been involved in this, from government side, is that level of disclosure and public participation. That to me is crucial. I wouldn't sit here and hang Adani. Okay. They've done pretty well, and we always talk over, foreign investments, or we want to bring in investors. But we can't bring in investors and then at the same time we demonize them.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, just 30 seconds. What do you have to say in regards to that before, because time is not really on our side. I want us to talk about something else as you give me a final remark. So kindly 30 seconds.
I think the challenge we have in this country is public participation is more of a cosmetic affair. And we have had our leaders for a long time disregard the opinion of the public, and that's why you find such kind of deals which involve a lot of money, public assets being put at risk or being taken over by some private companies. Those things are not properly, public participation is not properly done. And for it to be properly done, I think the Supreme Court made this pronouncement sometimes back during the BBI issue, that you should train people, civic education, then you have a proper engagement with the public, they're able to understand what is at stake, they give their views, and their views considered. So that you don't just give your views, but your views considered. So the Adani deal, which takes a risk of subjecting a country to some serious, a company which has a lot of problems. We have seen the company has problems where it comes from other countries where it has worked before. Therefore, allowing such an entity to take over some of our precious institutions like the airport or the energy sector, the Kenya Power, is a serious risk for our country. That's why, as a public, and I think the voice of the country is very clear, the mood of the country is clear, that we don't want Adani. Okay,
fair enough. Gentlemen, we're running out of time, but before you give me, as you give me your final submissions, kindly, in less than a minute, starting with you, Honorable Dege, you're resuming today from recess. The biggest issue has been IEBC. That is one thing that is on the table, according to Speaker Moses Wetangula. Are we staring at, at a situation where we will finally see this particular issue resolved and the IBC is fully reconstituted, because we have constituencies like, for example, Banisa, who have no representative in the National Assembly?
We hope so.
Less than a minute,
because if you look at where the issue is now, it's upon the judiciary to unlock it. Yeah, because the process was challenged. So it's no longer in the hands of the parliament. It's now upon the judiciary to unlock it.
Speaker Moses Wetangula did call on Chief Justice Martha Koome to fast track and hasten that particular process.
Let's hope so. Let's hope Chief Justice will listen.
Okay, thank you very much.
Some areas are suffering.
Okay, thank you very much.
If we were able to fast track Masengeli's case within two weeks and get him sentenced, we can sort this IBC issue, which actually the Gen Zs and Kenyans really want. So imagine there's a constituency that has not had representation.
For over a year.
For over, actually now it's 2 years.
Manisa, for example. Yes.
So what's happening to these Kenyans?
Okay.
I think that on the issue of Masengeli and the judge, I think that the judge should be given back his security.
Fair enough.
And Masengeli's sentencing should be withdrawn.
Okay, Wakili, 30 seconds, Wakili, kindly.
I think what I call upon is we need to respect the law, we need to respect the rule of law, and we should be a country that should condemn impunity at every single time it's tried to be perpetrated by those in leadership. And I call upon the Inspector General of Police, the Acting Inspector General of Police, to reinstate the security of the judge.
Thank you very much, Wakili. Thank you very much, Dr. Honorable Dege. Thank you very much for making time.
Thank you.
Now we've come to the end of this particular show because of course, time is not on our side. But the key issues, like we've talked about, will be, of course, following up on the National Assembly as it resumes its sittings today. Speaker Moses Wetangula did say that the key issue is the issue of the reconstitution of the IEBC, because that is, again, like the Dr. said, one of the key issues that the Gen Z did allude to and want it addressed as soon as possible. Now, thank you very much for making time. Remy Majalo will be coming to you in a moment with the Morning Vibe. Do have yourself a wonderful day, and like always, God bless.
Bad breakfast experiences? I get it. Morning Vibe is here to switch it up. An experiential and interactive show to set your vibe just about right. I mean, vibes don't lie. Join me, Remy Majala, every Monday to Thursday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on K24 TV.